Hello, my friends. I am so happy you are here today for our very first journey together. Before we begin our story, let's take a moment to relax. If you can, close your eyes. Take a deep breath with me. Breathe in slowly and breathe out. Imagine you are standing on a balcony. You can feel a warm wind on your face. Below you, the blue Mediterranean Sea hits the stone walls of a great palace. You hear the sound of people speaking many different languages: Greek, Egyptian, Latin, and Hebrew. You are in Alexandria, the most beautiful city of the ancient world. Today, we are going to tell the story of a woman who lived in that palace more than 2,000 years ago. She was a queen, a mother, and a warrior. But most importantly, she was a student. People often talk about her beauty, but her greatest power was her mind. Her name was Cleopatra. And this is the story of how she used her intelligence to protect her country in a world of powerful men. If you enjoy learning English through stories like this, please subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring you more beautiful stories for your English journey. Now, let us begin. Cleopatra was born in the year 69 BC in Egypt. Her father was King Ptolemy XII. Her family was not originally Egyptian, they were Greek. They had ruled Egypt for almost 300 years, but they lived like Greeks. They spoke Greek, they dressed in Greek clothes, and they stayed inside their beautiful palaces in Alexandria. In her family, there was a lot of fighting. Brothers fought sisters, and everyone wanted to be the king or queen. They wanted power, which is the ability to control people and make decisions. But while others were fighting, young Cleopatra was studying. She loved learning. She spent many hours in the great library of Alexandria. This was a building full of thousands of books, though back then books were called scrolls made from a plant called papyrus. Cleopatra was different from her family. Most of the Greek kings before her never bothered to learn the Egyptian language. They thought it was not important. But Cleopatra wanted to talk to her people. She wanted to understand them. She became the first person in her royal family to learn to speak and write in Egyptian. She did not stop there. She learned to speak many languages. Some say she spoke 7 or even 9 languages fluently. She studied science, mathematics, philosophy, and music. Philosophy is a word that means the love of wisdom. People in the palace said she was the smartest person in the building. Maybe she was the smartest person in all of Egypt. In the year 51 BC, when Cleopatra was only 18 years old, her father died. Suddenly, she was the queen of Egypt. But there was a problem. In Egypt, the tradition was that a woman could not rule alone. She had to share the throne with a male relative. So she had to rule with her brother, Ptolemy XIII. Her brother was only 10 years old. He was just a child. At first, Cleopatra made all the decisions. She controlled the money, she spoke to visitors from other countries, and she led the government. However, her brother's advisors, the people who give advice to a leader, did not like this. They wanted the young boy to be the real king because they could control him. They did not want a strong, smart queen who made her own choices. These advisors began to tell lies about Cleopatra. They told the people she was dangerous. After 3 years of fighting, the advisors forced Cleopatra to leave the palace. She had to run away to a country called Syria. She was only 21 years old. She had no home, no crown, and no kingdom. But just like the great leaders we study, Cleopatra did not give up. She did not sit and cry. She started to make a plan. She needed an army, she needed money, and she needed a powerful friend. While Cleopatra was in Syria, a very famous man arrived in Egypt. His name was Julius Caesar. Caesar was a Roman general and one of the most powerful men in the world. Rome was a city in Italy that was growing very fast. Roman armies were everywhere, and everyone was afraid of them. Caesar came to Egypt because he was chasing an enemy. When he arrived in Alexandria, he stayed in the royal palace. Cleopatra heard this and knew this was her chance. If she could talk to Caesar, maybe he would help her become queen again. But there was a big problem. Her brother's soldiers were guarding the palace. If they saw Cleopatra, they would kill her. She needed a clever plan. One night, a small boat arrived at the palace. A man got out carrying a large, heavy carpet. He told the guards he had a special gift for Julius Caesar. The guards let him into Caesar's room. The man put the carpet on the floor and slowly unrolled it. Suddenly, out stepped Cleopatra. She had been hiding inside the carpet. Caesar was surprised. He was also very impressed. He saw a young woman who was brave enough to risk her life just to speak with him. Cleopatra did not just use her beauty to win Caesar's help. She used her mind. She spoke to him in Latin, his own language. She was charming and intelligent. She explained the problems of Egypt and why she should be the queen. Caesar decided to help her. He said she must be the queen again. This led to a war in the city of Alexandria. It was a dangerous time. During the fighting, some people say the great library caught fire and many books were lost forever. But in the end, Caesar's army won. Cleopatra's brother died while trying to escape, and Cleopatra was once again the pharaoh of Egypt. A pharaoh is a title for the god kings and queens of ancient Egypt.
Cleopatra and Caesar became very close. They traveled together on the Nile River and saw the Great Pyramids. Cleopatra had a son, and she named him Caesarion, which means Little Caesar. She even traveled to Rome to stay with Caesar. But the people of Rome were not happy. They were afraid of Caesar's power, and they did not like that he was friends with a foreign queen. In the year 44 BC, a group of men killed Julius Caesar in a place called the Senate. Cleopatra was heartbroken and afraid. She took her son and fled, which means to run away from danger, back to Egypt. She did not know what would happen to her country now that her protector was gone. But soon another Roman general arrived. His name was Mark Antony. He was a brave soldier and had been a close friend of Caesar. He needed money for his armies, and Egypt was very rich. He asked Cleopatra to meet him in a city called Tarsus. Cleopatra knew she had to make a great impression. She arrived on a magnificent ship with purple sails and silver oars. She dressed like a goddess. When Mark Antony saw her, he was amazed. They fell in love, but it was also a political alliance, a word for when two people or countries agree to work together to help each other. Together they were very powerful. They had 3 children and planned to rule the East together. But in Rome, a man named Octavian was watching. He was Caesar's young relative, and he wanted all the power for himself. He told the Roman people that Mark Antony had forgotten his own country because he loved the Egyptian queen too much. He called Cleopatra dangerous. In the year 31 BC, a great battle happened at sea. It is called the Battle of Actium. Mark Antony and Cleopatra had many ships, but Octavian's ships were faster and better led. During the battle, something strange happened. Cleopatra's ships turned around and sailed away. Mark Antony followed her, leaving his soldiers behind. They went back to Egypt, but they knew Octavian would follow them. They tried to find allies, friends who would fight with them, but no one wanted to help a losing side. 1 year later, Octavian's army arrived in Alexandria. Mark Antony, thinking Cleopatra was already dead, took his own life with his sword. He died in Cleopatra's arms. Now Cleopatra was a prisoner in her own palace. Octavian was polite, but Cleopatra knew his plan. He wanted to take her to Rome and march her through the streets in a parade so everyone could see that he had defeated the famous queen. Cleopatra could not accept this shame, a painful feeling when you lose your dignity or respect. She was a queen, the last pharaoh of Egypt. She decided to choose her own end. On August 12, 30 BC, Cleopatra died. Some stories say she let a poisonous snake bite her. Others say she used a needle with poison. We may never know the truth, but we do know that she died with dignity, refusing to let her enemies control her. With Cleopatra's death, the history of ancient Egypt changed forever. It was no longer an independent country. It became a part of the Roman Empire. Why do we still tell Cleopatra's story today? It is because she shows us the power of the human spirit. She lived in a time of war and dangerous men, but she used her intelligence to stay alive and protect her people for 21 years. She teaches us that education is power. Because she learned many languages, she could speak directly to her people and to the leaders of the world. Because she studied science and history, she knew how to make clever plans. My friends, as you listen to this story in English, you are doing exactly what Cleopatra did. You are learning a new language. You are opening doors to a new understanding of the world. Some days learning English is hard. You might feel like Cleopatra in Syria, lost and without a kingdom. But remember, every word you learn makes you stronger. Every story you understand is a victory. Take a moment to think about Cleopatra's life. She faced many challenges, but she never stopped learning. She never stopped being brave. Thank you for joining me for our very first story. I hope Cleopatra's journey touched your heart and inspired you to keep growing. Before you go, I have a question for you. Please leave a comment below. Do you think Cleopatra was a hero for trying to save her country, or was she just a woman who wanted power? I would love to hear your thoughts. If you found this story helpful for your English, please click the like button and subscribe to Storyline English. Your support means everything to us, and it helps us create more meaningful storytelling for learners like you. Until our next story, take care of yourself, be kind to others, and keep walking forward on your learning adventure. I will see you soon. Goodbye for now.